Hey guys, I hope y'all can hear and see me now. I was working up to the last second trying to get this Word document prepped for today. How's everybody's Easter Sunday today? Yep, the 14th is my birthday, so we got just a few more days left, but it's awesome to see everybody. Yay. Thanks, Erin, for answering that. Sorry if I don't see all of the chat here, but happy Easter, everybody. Awesome, awesome. Let me make sure I've got this thing working, this video thing, real quick. Let's see, we're gonna add a video capture. I may have to turn it around, so give me just a second. This was the last thing I forgot to do. Sorry, guys. I have to update this darn camera every single time. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Make sure y'all can see it. Where's the transform? Yep, we're gonna do 90 degrees. Yep. Okay. Now y'all can see Lab and Path. All right. Maybe, sorta. I gotta move it. Come here. We're going to put you there, and we're going to increase you. There we go. Somewhere around in there for our Lab and Path. All right. Let's make sure you guys have some freaking modifiers. Let's make sure, just like we do in anesthesia, make sure you have the modifiers 90, 91, 92, QW, QA, and 99 listed in your Lab and Path page. That way you can use it for quick reference when you're right here. I think that's super helpful. But let me hide that for just a second while I show y'all the definitions and stuff that I had for today while I read chat. Howdy, 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 howdy. Let's see. Happy Easter. Good to see you guys. I'm so glad y'all are here. I feel bad about it being Easter and y'all are here studying, but it's just the only time I had this month. It's been so crazy. Hey, Deep. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Jada. Hey, Gupta. We're going to be so sick of Lab and Path codes when we get done with here. You've decided to do CPMA? That's awesome. So get those practice questions from AAPC and any of the answers that might be like laws. Like you can see I have one on this page where CLIA was 1988. Be sure and write that kind of stuff in the front of your book in any available white spaces that you have. Hello, Sylvester. Hey, Grub. More slots for Fridays.class. Nobody's been really booking those. I don't have any more available. Like, I'm not going to do one next weekend because it is my birthday on the 14th. And just prepping for 4 classes a week is really hard to do, much less having anything else. And Friday, I think, is my birthday, so I didn't book one for that day. And then the next Friday, I'm flying out of town. We're going to go to Cali for a short trip with my oldest son, so I don't have one for that Friday. My next Friday class, unfortunately, is April 28th. I'm sorry, guys. Then May 5th, May 12th, and May 19th. So, sorry, guys. It's just didn't have much room. Hey, Taylor. Hey, Reba. Girl, if you're asking me if I've checked my email, no, not in like 2 weeks. I've had this major audit that was due at work, at my real job, that I still do 40 hours a week, and I have not checked it in a while. And Twinkle's had an emergency, so I haven't forwarded anything to her to help me in a little while, so I just put it on vacation mode and sent everybody an auto reply saying I'll get to it as soon as I can. So I've not checked emails. I'm so sorry. Or messenger messages, or Discord messages, Facebook messages. I haven't checked anything. I'm so sorry. Hey, Jen, I'm also studying for the CPMA. Yay. So many federal regulations there are, but just write them in an organized fashion, just as small and just the bare minimum that you need to pick out the right answer is super helpful. Hey, Rachel, CPB billing? I don't like billing, but if you're wanting to get into billing, it would probably be easy or interesting for you. I don't think about it as being difficult. All you're having to do is pick out the right answers. Same protocol as what we're doing here. It's just picking out the correct answers. Learning techniques to pick out correct answers is super helpful. Hey, Shook. Yeah. I just started taking them without studying to see exactly what they're like. Yep, it's perfect strategy. CCS or CPC, depends. SS22, it depends. If you already are in a job position or just you're already employed and your employer says get one of them, then great. If you're looking for jobs, start going into Indeed or Glassdoor and start doing searches for the different ones, CCS or CPC. I think there's more job openings for CPC, but CCS is a little bit more difficult because you have that one extra book, the PCS book, but it's not something you can't learn. It's just extra info. I'll try, Mary Steele, to check my email soon. I will definitely try my best. Today's Easter, so today is going to be crazy. As soon as my boys get back, they're out playing right now. So I've got to leave on time today to get stuff set because I still got to scatter eggs out all over the yard. But I will do my best. And I have classes Monday and Wednesday and Friday this week to teach you guys. Plus I got to work full time. So it's crazy. Could you help me with a question 596-8001? Does this go with only a second or does it go with either of them? 8001-597. What are we looking for? 8001. Does it go with the second? Or does it go with either of them? What does that mean, Aaron? Happy Easter, Jada. There's just new updated codes for COVID, for the PCR test. Hey, Grow Glow, good to see you. I miss your voice. I miss talking to you. It's good to see you. March Madness is doing CPMA. Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Rachel. Doc Resin. That's awesome. Free questions for CCS. My Discord group If you have not been in there yet, right here, my Discord group has your own room for CCS right here, and it's full of, sorry, I don't know what that nitro thing is, but it is full of practice questions and screenshots from events that I've attended with correct answers in them. It's got 2 years worth of stuff that are free in here for you guys to go back through. All you got to do is scroll backwards, and I've got tons and tons of practice exam questions for CCS here. And just tons, 2 years worth. Lots of help for you guys. Just keep scrolling back. So that's one place you can find them. Also on Quizlets. My Discord link, I don't have open that document with all the links, I don't think. No, I don't have that one open. But here on YouTube, if you look at my header on YouTube, the banner that says Medical Coding by Jen, the big top header, I have links to AAPC, my TikToks, my Discord group. There's all the links are right there in the top banner. Thank you, Megan. No, I'm not Superwoman. I'm a hot mess. Hot mess. Hey, Go-Kart. CPC rooms are also on Discord too. Yep. So is CPMA, CRC. Getting ready to test in June. Awesome. CPC practice questions are in there too. You like the way I teach? That's awesome. I like teaching. And I never thought I'd be a teacher. That's crazy. The question was clear as mud when I reread it. Okay, Erin, what's the question? I don't understand what you wrote. Could you guys help me with question code 881? Does the list go with only the second? Or does it go with either of them? She's talking about the OB panel and the OB panel with the HIV. There's just two different OB panels. 0055. Oh, I'm sitting here trying to point to a book and y'all can't even see. These two OB panels, one of them includes HIV testing and one of them doesn't. So I don't know what the difference, what we're stressing about here. What are we stressing about? I retyped it, but it's hidden in chat. Oh, okay, there we go. That code has two or things, automated diff with manual. Does the bullet point list under the second one go with the automated manual? Or is it just the top one? So our CBC is automated and automated with diff. Our CPC here is automated with differential. White blood cells, 2.2. Why they got to make it to where it looks like their print is different, but it looks like it's the same. Yeah, it looks like it's the same to me. You're talking about the CBCs. The or means you pick one or the other. It won't include both. Maybe that's your question. You need to know if you're going to be doing, it could include an automated count, or it could indicate they did a manual differential. Either one, doesn't matter. They won't order both, promise you that. But either one will go with both. Happy Easter, Amy. Good to see you. Hopefully that answers your question. I hope so. All right. Here's again that list of those modifiers you need to know for Lab and Path. We don't use modifiers 51 and 52. Be sure you know your differences between the presumptive and definitive test. We just need to know if they're positive, negative, or what a level of the drug would be. Key factors in Lab and Path is not always the test that you're doing, but the method of the analysis. Are we supposed to visually look at it and tell the doctor what it is? Are we supposed to look at a card or a dipstick, or are we doing a probe or chromatography? You never know what kind, but there's a ton of different types of tests in here. Immunoassays, multi-step test. What type of factors are they asking for? Units just mean the number of tests. I wrote in the different stages and what the lab results would be if they had CKD stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5. I wrote the answers down of what those would be. Have we seen that on the exam recently? No. But if you have my notes for Lab and Path for 2023, codes that could possibly be on the exam are marked in pink. That's what the pink highlights for. That's helpful info. Special report just means the key terms are that it's rarely, unusual, variable, or new. If you had to pick out the correct answer between A, B, C, or D, it would have those key words in it: rare, unusual, variable, or new. So that's helpful. We can get started, I guess, on our very first question. Oh my goodness, we're going to start looking at codes. Let me check chat real quick, make sure I didn't miss Aaron reply, if that was normal. Want to buy the documents having questions from previous exams. Yes, it's no longer that document. I was graciously asked by AAPC not to share that information anymore. It reminded me that it is punishable by criminal law and punishable by sanctions financially and everywhere else. That everybody that signs up for a CPC, when you do take your exam, you cannot even verbally say what was on your exam without risk of all that stuff. So I've posted their recommendations many times in Discord and on Facebook to let everybody know we can't do that. ABN for Medicare, correct, Megan? So pick one or the other plus parts. Why would you pick the parts? You don't need to pick any parts, Aaron. If your doctor is ordering an OB panel, you just need to know whether it's with HIV or without. And you just pick your code, your 80055, your 80081. You do not unbundle any of this. You would not be billing any of these individual codes or the individual codes for the CPC. The only thing that's different is just ordering that HIV with it. Which is right here. This is the only thing that's not in that one. All the rest of the codes are all the same. Oh yeah, you'll be able to watch this replay. You've already got the link. You know what it is, what it looks like, and how to click on it. It'll be available for sure. Let's go to our first set of codes for this exam. So we've got 8 9s. Let me bring up the book here real quick. Y'all got to try to get there faster than me. Half the problem of the exam is just getting to the codes. So be sure and, any of my classes, especially the 3 that I give away every week, we got 6 hours of classes. Have out your books and turn to the codes that are in the book and look up your differences, because that skill is needed for taking the exam. You need to be able to find these headers really quickly, all your codes quickly, and just turning to the page, knowing to not look up and down these columns for the codes, but to always look up here for your code ranges is super helpful. That way your eyes aren't scanning up and down. You're only looking up at the top, which is a lot faster than looking up and down. It's just, there's a lot of skills built into just getting to the codes. So you'll realize how difficult it is when codes are out of sequence, when they're on the wrong pages. You'll get in a habit of finding some of those codes. It's just super helpful just to even do that. All right, we've got our 50, which is our 1-word difference on this one. Let me get here. Is a culture. And since they're all super close and in a row, 54 and 55 are going to be what I highly concentrate on. But since they're all under the same header and right here bundled together, we might as well write the differences down if you're here close enough anyway. 54 is our follicular fluid. '55 is a transfer, and 58 is cryo. So all we're going to do is search our question for those words. We're not reading the question. We're just doing a word search, like you're in one of those puzzle books and you're looking for a particular word. So you're not reading the question and getting lost in the propaganda that might be in the question. Just do a word search for just those differences. What's our answer? Y'all can put it in chat. The makers of the book put codes out of sequence when we have new technology that develop, and we never knew or knew that we might have a culture of a oocyte or zygote or an embryo, like in the example of 892550. There's only one way to culture it, and we assume it, so we assign it a number. We make this book, and we move on with our day. We have new technology that pops up, and we end up with a new child code under 89250. Now we can have a culture that includes a co-culture for something else, or we have a culture that is done by nanobites or something cool, new technology that needs to go right underneath our 50 code, but we don't have another number there because we've already used our 51 and 52 and 54. So we have to assign it some random number, but then we don't want to put that code and that code description back there in the odd numbers where we put it. We want to put it over here with the 50s and the 51s. So we move it and put it underneath here. Anyway, it's just because of new technology and the design of working with numbers and letters that we end up with mismatched, unsequenced numbers. But yes, we just looked for our word for follicular fluid, picked out our correct answer. Super helpful. Just knowing the one-word differences and writing those underneath each CPT code makes it super helpful. And you can just do your word search right after that, and you won't get anything wrong. Super easy. All right. This thing, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put my blinders on, and I'm not going to worry about the rest of these codes. I'm only going to look at my differences between my first codes right there, right? These codes are out of sequence. And being in a habit of looking and finding them is always a struggle. But hopefully you can learn how to get there super fast. One note while we're here, there is a page, if you're in the 2023 book, it's page 615 before I forget. I put a little tab on it. You know I don't like tabs. I don't tab any of my books. But I put one here in Lab and Path at the top of the book because this one has all your Lab and Path definitions for a lot of cool words. And it's 2 pages worth of tons of definitions of all kinds of terminology. Just might be helpful for the exam to know what an abnormal alliate is or what a common variant is. So just so you know, I want y'all to make sure y'all know where this page is. Anyway, go on to page 602 because these codes are out of sequence. We know our differences are with these two. Whoops, come on, you draw like you're supposed to. These two are dipsticks. Whoops, sorry, wrong ones. These two are dipsticks. These 3, how about that? These 3 are dipsticks. And this one is machine only. So let's just look through the question quickly is how I would attack it and see if I can find out if a dipstick was used. Then I could eliminate or at least get that, what I would call or consider a header done. Help me eliminate some of the answers. I see that we have an AKA term for dipstick in this question, which would be a good thing to write underneath the CPT codes. Like I've got here. Multiplex strip is the AKA term for dipstick, which is in your parentheses. So writing it underneath the 05 and the 06 is super helpful just because it's an AKA term. 07 is no dipstick at all, so we would not have that word underneath there. So that's helpful. But this multiplex strip means it's a dipstick. They're just trying not to say it. So we know we're going to get rid of 07 right away. It's going to be a difference between the 5 and the 6. Now the difference between the 5 and the 6 is the 6 uses a machine to read the dipstick, and 05 uses your eyes to read the dipstick. So who's reading the dipstick? And if it says visually, then you know it's only going to be an 05. Of course, using the process of association, looking for similarities would have cut all of this process down to where you would automatically look at this question, get rid of A and D because they're not similar, just keep your B and C, which does save you a lot of time. Then all you need to know is, would I times 2 this or would I not? And they want to know if you know the guideline for these codes. And of course, if you got my notes or have watched any of my lives, I've told you guys to write down here next to these codes that we do not times these. So any answers you see right away that have times 2, you know you can eliminate right out of the gate and get rid of them. I still, love that process of marking all the do nots, checking those, making sure you have all that listed underneath your codes, makes the exam a whole lot easier. Yep. And let me get rid of my book out of the way. Sorry, guys. In case you needed the whole question. But I only looked at the question for 2 words, and that's it. I didn't read. I don't need to know who the patient is, where they are, none of that stuff. Don't need to know none of it. Only look in the question for what the CPT codes tell you you need to go look for. And that's it. All right. We've got 2 codes that are in the 8-3s, so I'm going to run to those codes first. Did you get there as fast as me? Let's see, we got 3325 right here in pink, hint, hint, and 29, which is not in pink. One of them is records. One of them is during surgery. That's our differences. That's what we're going to look in our practice question for, is just those differences. Patient records. We like our A, and we can move on to our next question. I wouldn't bother looking at the other codes. That's how I would attack it. Gupta, did you find those codes? That's what you need to work on, is trying to find all these codes. When you're playing around with the practice questions, don't use an electronic book. Please try your best at just getting to codes, learning where they're at. This one in the 2022-3 book, is on page 602. You need to be able to find them. If you haven't, you need to make sure you write down the page numbers of where codes are so that when you do get them, you can find them easily. Still, that one's pretty rough to get to. All these, every single one throughout the entire book, go through it and write the page number down. Even, I write down the column numbers. Some of them are on column 1, some of them are on column 2, because there's 2 columns per page. But I do that. You don't have to do that. Just writing the page number down will help you, because you're going to go where you think the code should be in numeric order. At least get there. Some of them, they don't give you a CPT code range. They just tell you to go find it on some drug testing subsection. But then there's no place to go find out where that subsection is, which can drive you insane to find. So it is a challenge, But there's nothing worse than getting into the middle of your exam, have spent all this time studying. You didn't go and work through these codes and try to find them and practice just getting to the codes. Then you're wasting your whole time on your, how many questions? We got 6 questions in Lab and Path on the exam. You can't find any of the codes. They're all out of sequence. And even putting the page numbers, you're still struggling to find them because some codes get pushed out. It's just crazy. It is a stressful chapter, so please be sure and practice getting to the codes. Yep. Can't stress how much helpful that is. All right. Right here, we've got 3 that are in the 2.9s. 2 of them that are in the 2.9.4s. So I'm going to run to those codes first. See where they're at. 2.9. Where are we at? Yep. 2.9.4. We're back in the back again. Oh, come on. I went to 8.9 instead of 8.2. Anybody else do that? I have a habit of doing that for some reason. I get all dyslexic. 8.2.9. There we go. We've got our diabetes, glucose area. Our 47 is a quant. It's a quant. Our 46 is our hormone, the GON, the glucagon. Our 22 is, yeah, that's way far. That's far off. We're not going to worry about that one. And this one's our tolerance test. We're just going to look for those differences. Are we doing the hormone test? Are we doing a quant? Or are we doing a tolerance test? Just look through our question. I have one coming up at the very end of this workshop that's different. It's like an insulin hormone. It's interesting question. Y'all got to see that one. I haven't ever seen it before. This one I've seen quite a bit. How many tests did we do? We did 5 specimens. Which one would equal 5? This code equals 3. This one equals 2. You add those together, you get your 5, of course. Since we are doing the tolerance test, we're good to go with D, and we can move on to our next question. Just looking up our differences, just looking at those differences is all you really need. And then doing a word search. I had a cool one later on coming up on those. 88s. Let's go to 88s. I always forget to take it away where y'all can see the dang question. Sorry. 88.2. I get so involved here. All right. 40s. Let me get rid of the book for just a second so we can go back. That's all. It's our same old routine question. But it's a good one to start out with. Okay, this one. 88248. That's a child code. Can't do much with that one. You need to look at your mama code, which is the 45. If we were going to deal with that code, but I think I like the 67 and the 62 since they're both in the same area. Our 62 is a child code. Can't do much with it. We got to look at its mama code, which is 61. Our 67 is its own mama code. That one is different from the 62 because the 67 is using fluids where the 61 is using banding or cell counts, which is probably going to be serum. So we just need to know what kind of fluid are they testing, because all these pretty much test the same thing, but what kind of sample did they send in? We see the amniotic fluid, which is in the CPT code descriptor of our 67. Yep. So I would pick that one and move on with my day. Now, things that I would write down as the one-word differences between these codes is right here. Our 48, you got to look at the mama code, which is 45, and figure out you're doing something for a break syndrome. Our test question does say we're looking for Down syndrome, by the way. 67 is amniotic. Our 73 is a child code. We have to look at its mama code, which tells us we're doing a probe. And then our 62 is a child. We have to look at 61, and we're doing banding. Just hopefully that helps. But yeah, y'all have seen that one before. Hopefully, Sylvester, I fixed that for you so you could see the question. Oh, my favorite codes. I love these codes. I like these. You cannot do the process of elimination with these. You have to do word searches. What did they remove from the body? And what are they doing? What are they wanting you to do? Are you doing visual and gross, or are you doing microscope? Are you doing simple things like biopsies? Are you doing more difficult things, hysterectomies? Are you doing craniotomies or resections? I love these codes, but none of it, this is the one section you can't do the process of elimination with, or looking for similarities. You just need to go to the codes in the book, get there, and then you need to find out what did they remove and what did they ask us to do. Because sometimes they only want you to look at a visual of it, which could be your 88300 code. If they want microscope, you can add the O2. Now, if you want surgical path with gross and microscope, we're going to do the 04, 05, 07, and 09. My top tips for here is like biopsies here, easier things to get to. I think gallbladder is always here, is super helpful to make sure you have a note for that. Anytime they ever say they want you to look at a gallbladder, it's always 04. If they ever say they're in the brain and they did a craniotomy, it's always 07, which is our craniotomy. If they're doing resections, these two are both resections. The 07 means no cancer, there's no tumors, but 09 means positive omas, like tumors, always. So just some tips. If it's 05, there's usually a higher chance of a disease going on, maybe H. pylori, or I don't know. A little bit more difficult sometimes to get to, but muscle mass biopsies, maybe even bone marrow, nodules, more difficult to get to than just superficial cyst and stuff like that that might be up here. This is more muscly. But we still got to go look and see what did we remove. What we removed, we did a resection. So I've already told you that resections are either in the 7s or the 9s only, right? So you can get rid of those two. Now you just need to know if there's cancer or not, which is super helpful. And we do have our OMA, so you know your answer is B. So if you know that right off the bat, all resections go to 07 and 09, and no OMAs in 07, it'll make this whole thing a whole lot easier. What was your question? Which one was for tumor? Let me show you in my book too. Okay. So that's 05. Let me go to 07. So right here, if we look at, this is 07. I'm on page 690. I'm under 07. And right here under colon, it says segmental resection other than for tumor. That means no OMA. No OMA. But if you look over here at 09, it's pink, by the way. So is 07, so is 06, or not 06, 05 and 04. They're all pink. Be sure you know these codes. If we look at the same thing here for colon, it says resection for tumor. Tumor means equals OMA. So hopefully that is helpful. Yep, positive tumor is 09. Yep. And just my little notes right there for those. We're still here. We've got our 03 that I told you was more for like cyst, easier things to get to. Wait a minute. No, I'm in the wrong one. We're not 88. These are going to be urine drug screens, right? Yep. Oh, never mind. We do have 805. I do see the 88307 though here. This was for my resections, no tumor. And this is for my cyst. Now these are for like drug screens, like urine drug screens, I think, these 805s. So that's interesting. Let's check out our question and see if we've got any words we can find like cyst or resection. I see the word craniotomy. They did want gross and microscope. So we are going to make sure we're going to have an 88 code in our answer. So that's definitely going to get rid of those two. And then out of these two, if we only look at these, I told you that craniotomies were always B. 07s are always craniotomies. So just knowing that, and that's the only thing we're dealing with, B is our answer. Awesome. There again is my different little stuff. What in the heck did I write here? I don't think that's right. 88. What did I write? 88. I meant to write for arterial plaque. Good Lord. 88. 3 and my O are wrong. There we go. That makes more sense. Technically, I think I would put the muscles up here. Yeah. And then 04 would just be my biopsies. And I would put cyst right here. It's always a work in progress. But there's like my one-word differences. And then also we could put, I put brains. Okay, I didn't put craniotomy, but yeah, I put brains. Placentas, muscle biopsies, bone marrows, regular biopsies, cyst, yeah, arterial plaque, yeah, I like all those. Limbs, complete resections of total organs, total organ, like the whole lung removed, a whole kidney or something really difficult to get to, a whole organ or a whole limb, like they send in a whole leg or something. I think those go with the 09s. Go-kart, y'all are so nice. All right. Eight, 7. I'm like, okay, I got 2, A and D, right? That look, at least they have the same second and third digits. So I'd start out here first. 8, 7, 8. O2 are differences. This one is a visual strep. R 8, 9 is nonspecific. Usually not an answer. I'm going to go to this 8653 and see what it is real quick. And we're getting nuclear acid probe. And then my 863, my one word difference, maybe. 86317 is nonspecific 2. That's an NOS, so we're probably not going to be there, but it's a quant, and it's amino, just in case, but I don't think, yeah, nuclear acid, yep, okay. Some of these get crazy, but we've got 2 non-specific ones, so it's probably just a difference between nuclear acid testing or visual testing. So what did they ask us to do? Visual. Just read from the bottom up. Don't have to worry about much else. We just did a visual on it. So, got to be A. One thing, yeah, I do want to show y'all before I go far. 874. That's right. Right here. Let me show y'all in my book some homework for tonight, which will help y'all in deciding these. Pick you 3 are 4 different colors here, 4 different colors of pens. And just pick a color for each one. Pick one for amplified, another color for direct, another color for quant, and another color for multiplex. This will help you out because all of these codes for the next few pages, starting with that 87468, are either amplified, quantification, direct, amplified, amplified, direct, amplified, quant. I can go on for days, but they're all different based off of direct, amplified, quant, direct, amplified, quant. I mean, it's just everywhere here, and that's the only real differences in all of these. And if you just, I always underline my quants, and then I circle my amplified and direct in different colors. That can help you. It just goes on all these pages. They're all amplified. These multiplex ones are different than the other ones. They can be amplified, but if they're amplified multiplex, that's different than just a regular amplified. So be sure and look for the multiplex too and give it a good color so it can be marked out as different too. But that's super helpful and shows you right away during the middle of your exam, am I looking for direct, amplified, quant, or multiplex? Super helpful to get that marked on those codes. Rapid antigens. Check out and see if there's any questions on that. What do the chat lines highlighted in black mean? Vanessa, I love you too. I love you all. What does the black underline mean? I don't even see any like that. What do the chat lines highlighted in black mean? Is it on my book or is it in my question or is it just there on chat for you guys on YouTube? Anybody know? What do the chat lines highlighted in black mean? Sorry, I don't know. Okay. These things, this thing, page 685. I can't remember if I did a couple of TikToks yesterday. I don't remember if I did this one or not, but be sure and look at page 685 in your CPT book. If you have the 2023, there's a small little paragraph without a header, which it should have something to let you know these are your guidelines for your differences in your pap smears. The sentence that says to 88167, report conventional pap smears that are, and then the other sentence about using codes 88142 and 143 to report the liquid based specimens are muy important sentences. Be sure you know these, and it also tells you which ones are non-Beth right above it. And then I went to the codes and I wrote Beth results, and then the ones that are not Beth, like this one, I put non-Beth. That way you don't have to go back to and just mark them up so that you know which ones are which. That's super helpful, but pay attention to that paragraph. That's important. It doesn't have any alert about it, but that's kind of important for the exam, especially for CCS people. I think they get more involved in some of the pap smears than we do. You'll have to post a pic on Facebook later. Okay. Yeah, that'd be good. I quickly thinking somehow. Go-kart. Oh, some people might be, I'm thinking proctor, but that's not the name I'm thinking of, the word I'm thinking of. Moderator for YouTube and TikTok for me and stuff like that. So if I found their Facebook or YouTube, I don't know, maybe I made them a mod. Maybe that is, because go-kart is usually one sometimes. I don't know if that helps. I don't know. All right, this question. If the result is going to come back saying it is negative for interepithelial lesions or malignancy, or positive for them, something like that, how are those tests reported? Are they non-Beth or Beth? That's their question. Yep, page 685. Those are Beth. It says read the guidelines where it discusses this, but it doesn't tell you where to find those guidelines. So they're kind of hidden in the CPT book, I think. I mean, they're with the codes, but it's not, when they do guidelines, for like lab and path and stuff, they mark them up as a guideline. I don't know. It's just not highlighted enough. And their guidelines are crazy obscure. I have a question coming up that is going to tell you way more info on what the differences are on these pap smears in just a minute. So I thought, I don't think that's explaining it enough. So then I went and got another question, and then I explained it better. So we'll get there. We'll get there. Just a second. All right, we got to get to... Yeah, the next one's 8-8. These are all in the row, so we're not going to worry about these. We're going to just turn a page and get there to these. I have an ink pen in my book. It's driving me nuts. Let's get that out of there. Okay, 8-8. 1. $82. Our difference on this one is DNA analysis. R84, my one word difference is a cell surface. It's also components only. Components only is another thing that I like to underline on that one too. R87 is just a professional component code. It's just a PC. It's just an interpretation. Interp. And then 89 is the same thing, but more markers. So we're just interpreting markers, and this one's just more markers. More markers. So that's just a professional component code. Kind of like what, that modifier that eludes its all, and it's an actual code for it. So if we're looking for DNA, we're looking for DNA. And the only thing we got to do is match up our one-word differences. Yep. So under also 8.4, I have this one as a technical component because a hospital, a facility can bill this. And then I have this one as a professional component that an MD could bill these. So these are PCs and these are technical, if that makes, I don't know if that helps anybody. Those codes are not pink, but Not to say they couldn't be on the exam, but the 88174 is on there on this page, but no other codes are on the are pink. I just posted on the Facebook group. Let's see. Oh, I got messages. What have I got messages for? Oh, happy Easters. Happy Easters. Already forgot about it being Easter. I wish we could post pictures, I guess, into chat. That would be nice. Jennifer Brooks. All right. Oh my God. Go-kart and Deep are blacked out. Kind of interesting. I don't know why. On mine, Deep and Go-kart aren't blacked out like that. I don't know why they would be on yours. Kind of interesting. Y'all probably can't see what we're seeing, but those black lines include Deep's name and her reply, and then Go-kart's name and her reply. But kind of interesting. They're not that way on mine. No telling. On mine, everybody's just a clear, nice color. Don't know. I wonder if I could right click on them and make them that way. Like, there's a little wrench beside hers, which is interesting. She has a little wrench, Deep does, and Go-kart just has this normal star, but I don't know. Kind of interesting. Yep. Gotta keep going. All right, 88 O's. Let's get to these. 88 O's. We're gonna go backwards again. 88014. Autopsies. Those are often on the exam for sure. So you want to be sure and know your differences on these. 14, my one word difference on this one is no micro. My 29 is with micro. 40. Do I have anything down for 40? This was our crime. And our 99 is non-specific. So all technically, probably we just need to look and see if it's a crime investigation or with or without micro. That's the only thing we got to search our question for. We don't need to know much of anything else. We are doing with micro. So you know you can get rid of 14. I wouldn't even bill that. Now just need to know if we're doing an investigation or a crime. No one has said anything about a crime. So we can get rid of that one. Just keep our B and move on with our day. Here's some differences that I wrote out for everybody. Just the differences. Knowing whether it includes your microscope or not is helpful. And if we're not going to go to court, there's no crime, don't worry about it. And that one's just unlisted, so no worries. Oh boy, This one is fun. This is a skill that you need to know for the exam for sure. Number one, be sure you know where to find disease-oriented panels without being given any CPT codes. Where would you find those codes if they don't give you the CPT codes? And if you're in the 2023 book, we're going to be on pages 596 through 97 for sure. Yep. So they're asking us to look for panels that include chloride. General health, just start at the top and go find your panel that says general health, which is right here, and see if it includes chloride or not. Do we have it listed in here? I don't see it. So we can get rid of that one. Let's go to the electrolyte panel. Does it have chloride? It does. So we can do a check mark for that one. What about the renal panel? Does it? Go to renal panel, look for chloride. It does have it in it. Check mark. They only wanted to know which one has them. Pick your B and move on. You don't need to look up the other ones to see that they're incorrect. If you find your right answer, pick it and go on. Of course, the lipid panel won't have chloride in it because it's only dealing with cholesterol and triglycerides and stuff. So, and neither probably would OB, but lipid definitely doesn't have it in it, so those two answers are incorrect anyway. But that's how you do it. You just have to go through here and do some word searching. That's it. Are they? I thought a lot of the answers were C's, but maybe that's coming up. It seems like with the exam, you're in the B's too. Where are we if we're here? We've got all codes with 0 zeros in them. So we're staying in our panels, right? We're right there in the very front of the book. So we're not going anywhere. We can look for our process of, looking for similarities, of course. And looking for similarities would have us get rid of A and D because these two start out with that code. The only difference is would we code a 53 or a 51? Might be the easier selection. I mean, it's just the next set. So what's the difference between my 51 and 53? Is electrolyte panel or a comprehensive panel? So let's look through our questions, see what was ordered. Total calcium carbonate, or in which 3 ones? Okay, so this has got it all in it. So let's go look up our 51. Does our 51 have calcium in it? Nope, it does not. If I look at my electrolyte panel, it does not have calcium in it, but my 153 does, which is underneath it. So I bet all of them will be in all of those. So I would just pick C and move on by only looking up the calcium to see which one it was in. And you can spin your wheels and go look up all 3 of those and look them up If I look at the 69, it wants to know if calcium's in there, and it is. It's in there. So, but that's how I would do this question for sure. All right, we've got two that are those drug screens in the very front of the book? 80503. Yeah, ink pens are getting everywhere. Our 8/8s, our 88325 and 23 are in the back, and then our 805s, 04s, and 805s, those are up at the book front. Yeah. All right. We got them both up, our 805s. So these are consults, but they're based off of MDM, these are consults, but they're based off of, what is 25? 25 is records. And this one is material, the items that were given. So are we doing patient records again, or are we doing patient materials, or are we doing MDM differences? Check out our question. We're doing MDM, so which one would be straightforward? It's gotta be, since that's our very first, because we can't go lower than that anyway. We just pick our D. Look, it's not a B answer. Huh? We got straightforward. Yeah, I picked D. Those are fun codes up at the front. Oh. Oh. Don't be going nowhere. We got our straightforward, moderate, and high on those. And, oh yeah, from the question, if they say the word clinical path consult, you know right away you're in the O's. You can see back in the back where they just do a consultation and report, but they don't say clinical path consult when they do those practice exam questions. Clinical seems to be one of their favorite words that they use to always do the O5s up in the front of the book. Meant to say. Did that bring back a lot of questions? Yes, the replay will be available forever for everybody to see, unless I'm asked by somebody to take it down. It will always be up. Hey Twinkle, how's your Easter Sunday? Good to see you. Yeah, sometimes there's just too many. Yeah, and it's easier just to start at the beginning, but I needed to make a difference. These two were in one category, and then these two were in a different category. They're all consults, but these two are clinical consults under that header. These are under just consultations and reports for pathology. Back in the back. And we're under surgical path for these. These are surgical, where these are clinical. I guess I could add that to our notes here. That clinical is 805. Surgical is, what codes are those? 88s? 88s. 88.3s. Like your main headers. First figure out if you're doing clinical consultation or surgical consultations. That's super cool. That makes it clearer in my mind anyway for the differences. All right, 88304. Is that my favorite one? Yes, it is. I like that one. That is just on the very next page. We've got 304, which is our surgical path, Grossen microscope, which is usually cyst or something like that. Our 3329 is one more page over, right? Oh, backwards. 3329. 29. Can't do nothing with the 29. We got to go to its mama, which is 27, to see that we're doing culture. Our 33. Oh, wait a minute. I'm doing 2s. I inverted my 2 and my 3 again. Sorry, guys. I keep doing that. The dyslexia is strong today. All right, 329. Let's try that again. That's a path consult. So we've got a consult. This was during surgery. 348. 48 is, oh yeah, our diagnostic electron. That's super cool. And then our 333, back page, is cytology, C-Y-T-O, which is also the same thing as a fish, in case anybody ever wanted to know. Not that anybody even knows what fish means, but it's all cyto. It's all brushing, scraping, pap smear stuff. So what did we do? We did a gallbladder. What and where is our gallbladder always coded? I said it earlier in the lesson. If you ever see the word gallbladder, you know right away your answer has that lovely 4 at the end. We're doing just a surgical path on a gallbladder. I wouldn't bother reading anything else. If they even say, thank you. I hope those extra bonus material videos are super helpful. The page-by-page book prep is super cool. It's really nice. Plus all the old workshops, super helpful. But anytime you see that you are doing a surgical path on a gallbladder, you know this is always going to be your answer, guys. Always. You don't have to worry about anything else. We've got our 29 is a consult, our 48 is a microscope, and our 33 is a cyto. And this one always equals our gallbladder. Always. Oh, Lord. Put on your blinders and don't be worrying about all this mess. But we do need to know how to code multiple tests being repeated, and I have another new example, and I have an example. This one's an example I've done a couple of times, several times, but I wrote a new one for today's class. It's coming up in a couple of questions that's brand new, y'all have never seen, so I'm going to apologize now for that sucker. But we do need to know, how do we bill a blood test if we draw some blood on a patient and they're in the hospital and we need to repeat it and they're still admitted and it's still the same day, but we're doing it 4 or 5 times a day? We can bill for it unless it's a drug screen. Drug screens are only done once. If those are repeated multiple times in the same day, you still only code it once. But routine blood work like blood gases, blood sugars, things like that, especially heart attacks, you want to see their numbers going down. We need to know how to code them. What's our modifier for lab and path? It's always 91. So if you see a nightmare situation like this, be sure and look for answers in lab and path that won't have the multiplication without the 91. If you're going to have the multiplication, most of the time you're going to need that 91. So we can get rid of that one and we can get rid of this one. Just knowing our modifier guideline, that helps us out. Then there is always a pattern. If we have one test and we have another test, these are 2 different tests that we're going to repeat. There's a pattern to billing them or putting them on a code sheet, coding them. So we're going to bill our number. We're going to bill our number again. Then we're going to add the 91 to it. Sorry. And then we're going to times it by however many times we did it that 24-hour period. And then we'll code the other tests that we repeated. We'll code it again. We'll add the 91 modifier to the second time we wrote it with however many times we did it. So it will always be the name of the number of the test written twice. So you can see right here that the 50 was done once by itself and then you don't see it again. The 52 is done and then it's written again, so that's good, with the 91 with that, so those are perfect. This one, we've got our 50 done again with the 91 times 2, perfect. 52 with 52. Second 52 has the 91 with however many times. So either we have one test done once and then our second test done 3 times, or if it's C is our answer, we have one test done 3 times and our other test done 3 times, if that was the answer. So we just need to look through our question to see what was ordered and how many times was it ordered. And they wrote this one like incredibly hard to read, which I did the same thing too on mine that's coming up. They wrote that we are going to do a series of 3 CPKs levels, and then we're also going to do another test here, and with instructions that if it is also elevated, we will repeat it also. So we ordered 2 tests, both of them were done times 3, so we know C is our answer. So you're always going to look for first 91 in any of your answers. You're going to eliminate any answers that don't have 91 in them. Then you're going to look for patterns. if they have the 52 separated and put next to a 51, but then later on they have another 52 back here, you know that's irregular. You want to see them all bundled together in this double coded pattern like that. So look for those patterns to pick out your answer for sure. I tried to write it out in a little bit easier terms. Code 1 lab test, then your code 1 lab, then you code that code 1 repeat with the 91 modifier, showing that it was a repeat lab with the X of how many that was done. Codes are not separated. You're welcome. I hope it makes sense, guys. Yeah, write these examples near these codes. If you're not over there in the 82550 area and writing this example just like this with the circles around them to show you an example of what to look for, I mean, there's no reason to try to remember this. Go write it in your book, just like I just wrote it, just like this. That way, no matter what these numbers are, you know what pattern to look for. Go write that next to those codes. All right. Where am I at? Okay, 825s. We've got 3 that are all in the all 4 of them are in the 825s. We've got 2 of them that are in the 4s. This one's a 6, that one's a 5. So let's go to this code first and see what's going on there. Did we repeat it? Because it looks like it's been repeated, whatever it is. 825. 825. 40. Creatinine. All right. 825 creatinine. There's nothing really to see much in the book. It's just that's where the code is at. Don't have a lot there. So, did they only order creatinine? Did they order creatinine? Is that what they ordered? Check your spelling. Sometimes some of these things are spelt so similar. Like if you go look at that 82565, it kind of looks like creatinine, but it's got some extra letters in there. So verify the spelling sometimes on some of these words. Might help out a whole lot. So we don't have those extra letters there, so we know we can get rid of that. Did they repeat it or not? You guys tell me. I'll let y'all answer this one. And you got it wrong on Pocket Prep. Hey Tinder, how's it going? Happy Easter. Yes, that pattern applies to all lab and path codes. As far as I know. Guys, y'all reread that question. I got one person to get it right. Is that Renee? Renee knows how to tell time or knows what encompasses a 24-hour day period. Only one person got it right, guys. There you go. Do you see it now, Jeanette? You know, if I turn it over to you guys, there's a trick in it, right? Good job. Very good job of looking that up. Just because it says the word repeat doesn't mean we're going to bill it. It says the patient was here yesterday. They had a critical level return back for this patient as of high. The patient was asked to return today, which is not the same as yesterday, for a repeat. It's a different date of service. Date of service matters. Don't forget about that. If we're not in the same date of service, we're not going to bill it like this. Nope. So I know I'm big on looking for one-word differences. Be careful about your repeat word. Look about the words before it and after it to verify the repeat has the same meaning as what you're assuming. When you see a question with something that says yesterday and today in it, you know you have two dates of services here. All right, I wrote this question. I think this is it. Yep. I think I put sorry. I think. Nope, this isn't it. Nope, it's coming up. It's later on. It's coming up though. All right. We got our 822. What do we got going on here? These are all in a row, so we can't do any process of elimination or looking for any similarities. We just got to get to the codes. 822.70. Yep. That one is pink, by the way, guys, in my book. So you will probably have some of these occult blood, guaiac things. Some of them are not done like, I don't know, they're very different. And you do need to know your differences. For sure. Some one-word differences on these. So my 71 is an other. 72 is 1 to 3. My 74 is 3 immuno. And I don't know why I'm writing in crayon. What did we do? Single. This is other sources. And then these two are not looking for colorectal neoplasm screenings. These two are for other. So if you actually know that everything underneath A ends up being an other than, the one thing that is not the same, that is different, is just your 70, because it's the one that is not an other. All of these are all other. Whether it's looking for another reason, like we're not looking for neoplasms, cancer, or it's a different source besides stool. So that's really kind of interesting that all three of these are others. And normally those are never really the answers anyway. So without reading anything in the book, if you just knew the differences in these codes, you could probably pick this out and know that A is the answer without looking at any of the question. But just verify that you're looking for colorectal cancer. If you're not looking for colorectal cancer, if you're looking for something else, it's going to be 72 and 74. If you are looking for colorectal cancer, it's only going to be the 70 and 71. Then you just need to know your source. What did they spackle on it? They used fecal, then you know it's 70, because 71 is not by that sample. That one was on your exam, the 71, 72? 72 was on your exam. I've got the, I will pink highlight that. Was it this year that you took your exam? 2023? I've got the 74 and the 70 being on there. '70 and '72 are all looking for this perioxidize activity, where 74 is looking for hemoglobin. So some important differences there. Yep, this year. Okay. Got her highlighted then. Awesome. On March 18th, 72 was on there. Just remember, it's other than neoplasm. We're looking for something other than colorectal cancer if you're going to pick that as an answer. These guys up here are looking for colorectal cancer. More important. All right. These are a pain. I don't even think I learned these well enough when I took my exam at all. And in fact, I couldn't find a lot of the codes in lab and path and medicine section, so I just had to guess off my experience. I used to run a lab. Now, I knew the blood work stuff, but we didn't do a lot of in-house guaiac stuff. But, oh my gosh, I couldn't find anything. Nobody told me after years worth of research and paying for info that I had codes out of sequence. And if you didn't know, you just didn't know. I couldn't find crap. And by then I was exhausted, because back then it was 150 questions and I'd been there 4 hours already, and it's a 5.5 hour exam. I was like, oh, I'm just guessing. Guessed and passed. So let's see, what did I write here? Number 70 is used exclusively for colorectal, for neoplasm screening. 71, other than fecal. 72 is for other conditions other than colorectal screening. And 74 is immunoassay, but I like the fact about the hemoglobin is the big difference. Hemo is a big difference right there. That's cool to know. All right. Which of the following is true concerning CLIA? CLIA certifications are given to providers, not labs. Up to 3 labs or offices can share the same CLIA certificate. Testing for drugs requires CLIA certification, or there are 7 types of CLIA certifications. We are looking for something that is true. I hate it when they ask me for something that's wrong. It's harder to look for. Which one's true, guys? Well, my first exam, I didn't go to pass. I went in person, And I didn't even notice there was not any out-of-code sequences because I wasn't even reading the questions. I went there just to highlight codes that were used as the answers and vocabulary terms and things that I needed to know so that I could study from that point of view for my second attempt. My second attempt, I passed. I know I'm like an 87 or an 89. I've forgotten which one it was, but I know I didn't make a 90. It was 87 or 89 on my second attempt. My first attempt, I didn't even read the questions. I just went in there to audit, and I went in person. My second attempt, I did online, and I had to do it in 2 parts, all online, and it was still 150 questions. It was 2 hours and a half each time, but because I got started late, I did it all back to back. So I did the whole exam in person or online at home, back to back exams. And that's when I realized I couldn't find any of the lab, path, or medicine, that all these codes were out of sequence. Because when I went in person, I was just there to highlight codes. And apparently I got an exam that didn't have any that were out of sequence the first time I went because I never noticed that those were there at all. I was able just to highlight a bunch of stuff. I think my first attempt was like a 54, but I was just going A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. I wasn't even playing. I didn't even want to read one question. I was like, oh, that's wordy. Gross. What is CLIA? You better find out, Miss Doc Resin, for your exam. Please be sure and do so. Google that. Our answer is C for our results here. CLIA is a requirement for anybody that is doing any kind of lab work, and it needs to be updated every 2 years. It is part of a clinical laboratory improvement amendment. There's your definitions, ain't for your acronym. It is not for providers. It is for a location. Each location needs to have their own certificate, and it cannot be shared. There are 5 different types of certifications, and that's the list of them right there. So now you don't have to Google. You can write that down in your book. Oh, my favorite codes. I love these codes. Let's go back to our 88s. So we know that gallbladders go here. We know muscle biopsies go here. We know craniotomies go here. What is our 88-302? That is just a visual look and a microscope. But it's going to be something that is small, easy to get to, fingers and toes, foreskins on newborns. You can see from that list, it's simple, easier things to get to. The patient might not think so, but they are. Let's look up and see what did they remove and send to us to look at. Specimens from what? From a lipoma. Where would a lipoma go? Oh, look. What is that? Do you know the definition of what this is? What did they remove from a body? Lipoma is hard to see. Know what is. Lipomas are in, if you know your integumentary and have watched my integumentary workshop, you know that there's a difference between excisions, stuff that you cannot remove and code in integumentary. There's a few little things that you remove in musculoskeletal that you cannot code in integumentary, and those are masses, lipomas, and gunshot wounds, stuff like that. So you know, I've already told you that the O4s are for superficial cyst, things like that. The O5 is for muscles. So maybe if you remember that lipomas are in the muscle section, but you can write underneath the 305 lipomas, masses. I wouldn't say gunshot wounds specifically would go there because you can do bone fragments anywhere. If they just want you to look at the bones or bullet casings, you can do that under your 300. But you can definitely write masses and lipomas underneath here. And if you know what the name of this surgery is, you know that's just a removal of a gallbladder. And you know right away, gallbladders, oops, I'm circling the wrong one. Gallbladders go under the O4, right? Oh, my dyslexia is getting the best of me today. Gallbladder. It's going to go there. But lipoma can too. I would have thought it was a O5, but soft tissue. Anything that's soft tissue can go right there. All right, what's this one? We've got another one with the, it looks like repeats again, right? Because we're seeing something be repeated with the 91 modifier. And you can see right here, they've got a 3.5, and then here they've got a 3.5. Here they've got a 90, and here they've got a 90. You know that that is a coding irregularity. We can get rid of that. So first off, I would do that, and then I would check my patterns on everything else. That looks good. This looks good. Yep. If B was the answer, how many times did they do each test? If B is the answer, how many times did they do the test? You're welcome. Lipomas, I would have thought those would go under O5. Good question, Aaron. I'm putting them underneath both. Because lipomas are muscular. They're not really soft tissue. But could be just an error on AAPC's part, and that's where they want the answer. We just have to go by what they want. So some of these are not clinically correct based off what we would do in real life coding situation. I'm sorry, I got to stand up. My tailbone is killing me. Oh, God almighty. I'm just going to raise this desk up. I got one of those machine operating things. Well, my son did. He got it for me for Christmas. So let's stand up. Oh, God. That feels better. Okay. So yes, if B is the answer, it looks like they've done 2 tests and they've done it 2 times. If A is the answer, they've done 2 tests 1 time each, right? If D is the answer, they've done 2 tests times 3. I like to do this in Lab and Path because it helps me when I'm looking through the question to know exactly what to look for. All I need to know is, and I know they did 2 tests. That's a given. We know they're doing 2 of something. I just need to find out how many were ordered in a 24-hour period, and that will tell me what the answer is. That limits down my scattered brain, which y'all can see I have a hard time just concentrating when I know what the answers are. imagine being under a stressful situation when you can't, and your livelihood is depending on this test and you're stressed. You've got to get this right. This is super helpful. Go through the answers and just figure out what the answer would be based off of each one by counting. And this gives you clear direction on where to look for the answer. So let's go see how many times this got ordered. Oh, Lord. I don't see any numbers. It's nice when they do numbers, like 3 times or whatever. What do you guys think? I wrote this question too, by the way, so I'm sorry. This question is not written by AAPC. This was mine. Or anybody, as a matter of fact. I just made it up. Oh, wait a minute. That's not 3 times. One of them is. This one's 3 times. Yep, I did that wrong. That's times 2. I forgot what I wrote. This one's times 2, and then this one is times 3. Oh, Lord. Good gracious. You can tell I wrote that last night. This one I wrote times 3, but then the other test was done only 2 times. Huh. Oh, Lord. I was really mean. Okay. So if it's B, whatever is 90 was done twice. Whatever is 35 was done 3 times. Good gracious. And then I flipped it here. Whatever was 90 is 3 times. Whatever is 35 was done 2 times. So figure out your code. Which one is for magnesium? Which one is for lipase? Find out how many times they were ordered. Magnesium will do as 1 line. Lipase will do as a circle. Oh, gosh. 8:03. What time is it? 4 o'clock. Okay. We're okay. I got 1 more hour. 8:36. 836. 836 what? 90? That's lipase. So that's lipase. Lipase was at least ordered once. How many times was it ordered after that? They were both repeated. Then magnesium was still critical. So magnesium got ordered 3 times. Lipase was ordered twice. Magnesium was ordered 3 times. And they never got that darn urine sample. And the patient left AMA out of the ER without being able to collect that urine sample. Okay, lipase times 2 and magnesium done 3 times means B is our answer. Lipase twice, magnesium 3 times. Does that make sense to everybody? I'd feel bad for the people that are doing this kind of question at home remotely because you can't write on anything. That would be rough. Test, well, what I did was I looked in my book, looked up the very first code in the question, which is the 83690. 83690 says lipase. So I just gave them a marker. where I said the first code is this symbol, where magnesium is this symbol. Then I went through the question. That's just to remember that this is for code 90 and this is for code 35. That's all I did. And then I went through there and then saw that they returned critical levels. Doctor orders a repeat on both. So then I just did another symbol for another repeat on both. Then I went through it again. The second set of blood work returned magnesium is still high. Doctor ordered a repeat on just the magnesium, so then I gave it another symbol. Then I just added it up. This is 3, this is 2. Then I found my answer that meant I did 2 of the 90 and 3 of the 3-5. I'm sure there's other ways to do this. That's just what fits in my head to do it. So I did lipase twice, which was this code, and I did magnesium, this code, 3 times. So I only looked up one CPT code to figure out my answer for this question. But we did have to do a lot of searching through it. I hope that helps. Does that help? It is wordy. It just hit you after you typed it, but I guess be quickly. Yeah. No, it's all right. Never second guess yourself. During the exam, pick an answer and move on. It is wordy, but I wanted it wordy and confusing. Because remember, one of those lab ones where you have to figure out if sorry, it's just my kid's school telling me about the weekly update. One of those with the ISOs and the CPKs, it is super wordy and it's really hard to figure out that they meant that you repeat both tests times 3. That test question is awful to look at without me telling you what is going on with it, because they took 2 sentences just to say that they repeated both tests 3 times. It's awful. But I'm glad you learned a new way, go-kart. That's awesome. Okay, we're back to my favorite codes. We've got 2 that are in the 7s. So as long as we're doing a craniotomy or something, a resection or something, we're cool. Then we just need to know our differences between our 61 and 62. What's going on with these, right? Or no, these are the urine drug screens. These are the drug screens, right? Not the 88s. I love those 88s, but these will work. These are the drug screens, right? So we've got, our differences are, this one was done with a machine, and these 2 are done with our dippy sticks, right? So first we have to figure out if we're using dipsticks or a machine. So let's check our question for dipstick. Did we use a dipstick? Assuming not, because we've got 2 of them that are the 07s, but I would just verify, and we do have just the machine listed here, so I would get rid of those 2. Then we just need to know our differences between the 61 and the 62. 61 is opioids, and 62 is also opioids. Which ones? 61, my one-word difference for this code is confirm. If you have my notes, 62 is for synthetic opioids. I also have like fentanyl, things that are manufactured. I don't know. That's what I got here. What do you guys think the answer is? Just a drug confirmatory, just to confirm. How many came back positive? Only one came back positive, so you kind of know you don't need one or two different drugs, like the 62 has 2 drugs in it, but the 61 does have 1 or more. We only have the 1. I don't know how you'd know the difference, really, based off just the CPT code descriptor. Oops, I don't know why I locked that, but here we go. I just know that my 61 is my confirmatory test, and that my opioids or opiates analog is for something else. We're doing synthetic opioids, we're doing fentanyl and other things, but it's not a confirmatory one. So hopefully that's helpful during the exam. Be sure and write down that if you have a drug screen come back and you need to confirm, we're going to confirm with our 61. All right, back to my favorites again. We know we've got 3 of them all in the 04. So my goodness, we must be doing something. Would we add one of these tests at the end? Do we have 2 different specimens in 2 different categories, or would they both be in the 04s? And also, would we add our 329? Let's check it out. I've got to get going through these questions, guys, because we've got E&M too, and I have to end pretty close to on time because I've got to go be an Easter bunny and hide 100 eggs. They're still sitting in my house here in my bedroom waiting on me to do. We have a nonprofit in town that gives us, that I can order a month in hand, and the Easter bunny will actually come to your house at midnight and do all this for you. But because the boys were spending the night somewhere and I wasn't going to be home, you know, it's hot out here in the desert, I figured all the candy would melt. So when the Easter bunny showed up at midnight, I was like, just give them to me. I'll do it later. But it's really cool. We have a neat little nonprofit that'll do that for us. I love it. It's my 2nd year doing it. So we do have individual containers. When you do have individual containers, you get to times your code if they're both under the same code header. What did we get? We got a cyst. Cysts are usually my 04s. And we got a nodule. Where do nodules go? Ooh, nodules and cyst. And we need gross and microscopic. I don't think we'd need this 329 thingy at the end for sure. What do you guys think is the answer for this one? Yeah, in my notes, I have that nodules are in the 05s and 04s are the cyst. So there's no need to times anything because they're under separate headers or code descriptors, I guess you'd say. So put pigmented nodules underneath that 05 as a note, and we'll put inclusion cyst go underneath the 04. That'll be helpful during the exam. All right, back to our drug screens. Back over here, we've got a machine, or we've got the other things. Hopefully this is not the same question. I don't think they are. Tried to make sure. Are we doing dipsticks? Are we doing dippy sticks? No, this looks different. Do we just do machine? Chemistry analyzer. So instead of saying the chromatography, they put down chemistry analyzer. So that's a new AKA term to put underneath our 07. So be sure and get that done. How many did we do? Do we have, can we times these codes? Remember what I told you in the beginning? We can't times these. So if you see any answers with the timeses, we get rid of those. Makes this whole process a lot easier. Dipstick is B. Machine only is A. We can pick A and we don't have to fret about nothing. But be sure and put chemistry analyzer as an AKA term for this 307. All right, another one, 05 and 06. We'll worry about this other stuff later if we're not where we're supposed to be. What do you guys think on this one? Ooh, I see an actual drug name. Would we be in our random urine drug screen if we're drawing an actual, drug thing? We wouldn't be. This is just for like, we don't know what we're going to get. We don't have a drug name in our head. We're just going to go draw for everything. So we're definitely not going to be here. Now we're faced with having to go look up the two differences. I'd started our 802 because it's first one in sequence. 802, we're going backwards somewhere. Or is it forwards? They're always out of sequence. So you got to go look these up. Pain in the butt. 608 is where I'm at. And I get to my 80201, which match your spelling really well. TOPIRAMATE. Because sometimes there'll be one letter difference, like an I there, or an O or a U, and you won't notice, and you could pick the wrong code. So be very careful about spelling of some of these words, especially when they're words you don't know how to pronounce, you've never seen them before. Be careful about that, but yeah, C is our answer. That's all we got to do. When you see a drug name listed as the first thing you're dealing with, you know you're not in the 803s. Good job, guys. All right, 80. What modifier? What's our answer? Y'all can take one look at this question and just look at the answer. What is our modifier? What I said about the times earlier in our live, if you are dealing with the 803, 05, 06, or 07, those are not timeses. So if you see any answers that have a times with them, and you probably will on your exam, they just want to know, do you know that you can't times those? That is never going to be your answer. You can automatically get rid of those. What is our lab and path modifier? 91, you know your answer's B. Pick it and move on with your day. Okay? Don't stress over these. Know your modifiers. You can look at the question later. I got to book it. What are we doing with this one? All right, so going to the back, going to the back. Don't look at the second codes. Let's look at just the first codes. We've got 3 of them in the 60s, right there, 2. And then we do have a 61. It's kind of close, but I'd start out right there. Let's go look for that code. 695. Did you get there in time? What are we dealing with? Oh, pap smears. That's right. I got to show y'all these. These are so difficult sometimes. I think they're difficult, and I hate them. And I did labor and delivery and OB. I don't know why they got to make the pap smear so difficult back here sometimes. Or some of this cytoplasty. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, 90660. We're doing sperm isolation. Is that what we did? We did something with the sperm. We did washing. Which code has washing? It's in the parentheses of the CPT code descriptor. So you know we're doing the 60. Are we doing an 80 or a 68? So our 80 is assisted and our 68 is insemination. We did insemination. So that's helpful. Super helpful. Pick it right away. It's all just differences in the second code. All right, our 88s. We've got 2 in the 40s. So I'd probably run there first. So 88.1. Ooh, more pap smears. 88.1, 47, and 48. We're on page 885, 685. This one's just automated, and it's a one-step pap smear. Y'all know we have pap smears. First they go in and do that, whatever they're doing, the brush, and they collect a sample either in a thin prep solution or they put it on a slide. Then they go in and do a manual or an automatic, another exam. So this one's just nothing's followed by it. It's just a smear, a screening, automated pap smear. That's it. This one, 48, is a rescreen. Let's see if we're here. '64 is just manual. It's not automated, in case you wanted to know. Our 74 is automated also, but there is differences between these 74 and 47. This is just a pap smear from the cervix screening done automated under supervision. There's nothing else. If this is all they have to say about what they did, then that's all that was done, which will always be your 74, or 47, I'm sorry, 47, always. I'm going to show y'all a question where it will be the 74 coming up, but just to know that the 64 is manual instead of automated. This one is a rescreen. These two are automated, but This one has no secondary exam that happens on after it. This one has a secondary exam that happens after it. This one's also going on a slide instead of in the PAP. All right, more drug screens. Is that right? We got more drug screens. We know we can't times these, so we can get rid of this. So let's see if we have dipsticks or not. Do we have dippy sticks? How many drug screens can we do? I just know you guys are going to be asked about this for sure on the exam. So now we've got another name. A multi-channel chemistry analyzer. There's no dippy stick. So you know you're doing 07. The other ones are dippy sticks. So I would just pick that one and move on. Don't even need to worry about the secondary code. What's our modifier? And our answer for this one is most likely the 91. Just know that 90 means outside lab, means it's not contracted with us, but they will say the word outside lab. This is just a repeat. If it is 92, it's an alternate transportable equipment. It's going to be very weird, very, very different. They're going to be using an alternate method of something or another if it happens to be here. So just so you know, the only thing that I think might be on a CPC or a CCS might be the outside lab. I doubt they would use a 92 because that's super rare, even in real life, but outside lab does occur. So not that I've seen anybody say that it was on their exam. Just find out if we did a repeat, and as long as it's not going outside somewhere else, as long as we did it in-house, we ain't got to worry about nothing else other than to pick our C and move on. All right, 88s. We've got autopsies again. More autopsies. 88. Oh, where are you at? I think. Yep. Or pap smears. One of the two. No, there's autopsies. So our 05 is we can't do much with it because it's a child code. You have to look at its mama. Its mama code is the 000, and that means no micro. There was no microscope. Our 25, it's also a child, can't do much with it. What's the difference? We have to go look at 20, and our main difference is it does with micro. Our 40 is its own, but that is a crime, so don't have to worry about looking at a different code. And our 45 is our accident one. So if we're, called to an accident scene, we just have to do an accident investigation, then it's 45. If it's a crime scene investigation, we do 40. So let's just see. Gunshot wound and investigation. So it's probably not an accident. So we'll just pick our D and move on with our day. I'm going to look up what are our 805, 80. So are we doing a clinical? We learned clinical path with MDM with these two. Those two are the clinicals. Are we doing an office consult? Because we're in E&M section here. Or what the heck is this 88173? Where the heck is that? 88173 is on page 686. It's a child code. We can't do nothing with it. We have to look for its parent. Its parent is 72. 72 is a fine needle aspiration. So we're going to go look for MDM being mentioned or fine needle aspiration. First sentence, fine needle aspiration. So I would keep A. There is no MDM mentioned. And since it is just a cytopathy study, there is no history or exam done visually at the patient. We might review the records or the chart materials, but that's not done in a doctor's office. That's only done here. '88 threes. Okay. Right here we've got just a visual. If it's one of these, we've got two specimens in two separate containers. And if it's the O2, we did visual and microscope. Let's check it out. What have we got? Do we have separate containers? Taken and separately identified? Yes, we do have separate containers. We get rid of those. I just need to figure out if I'm an O4 or an O2. What did we remove? Fatty tissue with a hernia sac. Would that be O2 or O4? '88.3. I was trying to do it without looking at the codes. All right. 2. Gotta be 2. But could be. Because foreskin's there. Oh, there is a hernia sac underneath our O2. Ooh. So if hernia sac is there, any location, then it has to be our O2C. That's cool. I'm going to underline that hernia sac. I didn't even notice that was there. That's cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yep. As long as it's separately identified, you can times it. And that's only for these codes. That's got nothing to do with our urine drug screens. Our drug screens, we do not times. Don't get those codes confused because they look a lot alike. A lot alike. All right, 88,174. Oh my God, we're back here at those pap smears. All right. Our 74 is automated. That'll make more sense in a minute. And then our 42 is automated and manual. Our 60, where's my 68? 60 is other Other sources probably won't be there because that's other sources. And our 64 is just manual screening. So automated, manual, automated, automated, other sources, or nothing but manual. If you don't have those abbreviations down, that may help you. So get those down beside those codes. Let's see, what did we do? We performed it. Automated. Liquid-based specimen, I believe, is our 74. Because our 72, no, our 42 is thin layer on a slide, where our liquid-based slide is the thin prep thing. Liquid-based preservation. Yep, it's our 74. So here's our differences between the 42 and the 74. The specimens for 42 are followed up by manual screening, where our 74 is followed up by using an automated system. That manual screening is going to take that slide that the doctor put the scrapings on and manually look under a microscope at. This automated system is going to take the solution that they put the pap smear sample in, and that solution is going to get sucked up by a machine, and it's going to be automated and generate a result for us. So we have an automated preparation. This one is an automated preparation, but then a manual screening. This is automated preparation followed by an automated results. So our differences on those. You just got to figure out which one were they doing for the results. All right, 82. 82, we got two of them that are in the 82.2s. So let's run to those two codes real quick. Where are we at? 822. We're up in the front. We're going to be in drugs. Our 71 is stool. $86.30. We're dealing with stool, but it's more looking for an inflamed gastrointestinal issue. It's also one of those ELSA test, ELISA things. Our 72 is also our stool guaiac stuff, you know. And then maybe 6 blood or whatever. Let's see, what is our 54? 654. We've got, yep, our 71. Yep, other sources, not stool. Other sources. That's what I did wrong. Other sources. Other sources. But we're still looking for our colorectal cancer screening. So are we doing the cancer screening here, or are we at the 83630, which is our gastric issues, or are we at 8994? We're at R694, 89055. We are looking for a quantitative. We're looking for Luke's, LEUs. What are we looking for? Are we looking for gastro? We doing a cancer screening? Are we looking for inflammation, or are we looking for leukocytes? So it's going to be more of the diagnosis that's happening than it is what test we're performing and what we're doing or how we collected it. Like the previous question was more on how we collected it and how the test results were going to come out. This is more about what we're looking to confirm. Patient having this diagnosis and we're looking for Luke's. We're going to stick with that D. We're not doing the guaiac stool stuff looking for cancer, because this isn't cancer. This is just an itis of some sort. And this one doesn't have us looking for the Luke's. This is the only one that has the same word match as our D. I hope that's as clear as mud, as they say. Yep. Good job. 822. What's Vanessa's question? 822. 72 is looking for colorectal cancer. Yes. But just using another source, right? I got those reversed or something or another. Or maybe I didn't. 822. 650. That was over on page 654. No, that's other than cancer. You're right. Other than cancer. We're looking for other things. Other than cancer. Y'all keep me straight. Other than cancer. But it's still a guaiac. And 71 is a guaiac. Both of those are. You're right. All right, we got two that are the 58s. I'd run to that one first, see what's going on there. 892, 892, 58, page 694. Are we doing cryo? If we are, great. Cryo with both of those. 893 if we happen to be here. Just make sure. Let's go see. What are we doing? Oh yeah, we're going to store them. And we're going to use cryo. So perfect. We're going to get rid of both of those. Now all we got to do is figure out, are we a 42 or a 46? So our 89342 is on page 95. 42 is storage, and 46 is thawing them out, right? Or something like that. Yep. Nope. 42 is storage, and 36 46 is the oocytes, storage of the oocytes. So are we doing embryos or oocytes? That was the difference. Doing oocytes before they become embryos. Yep. that's our difference. So we just pick our C. Yep. Just need to know if they're fertilized or not. All right, we're going to, all right, our 84. This one's direct, of course. And they're all over. Nothing's really, I mean, I like the 87s, but then after that point, it's really hard to do any process of elimination on any of this mess. This one's influenza, yep. But it's a, we need to know, this one's direct, optical. This one's going to be influenza 2, but we're running a lab test on this one. This one's looking for influenza 2, but it's actually done by running a test. And our 10 is 6, 7, yep, 72. Yep, it's also looking for antibodies. Yep. Influenza. The only thing that is really different about B, C, and D is they're not rapid or done right in the house. They're sent out to the lab to get those done. So that's important. I think A is the only one that's a rapid visual look. You can just, like a COVID test at home, and see if the result is there. So I bet A's it because it's a little different in the way it looks up those. So let's see. Yep, we got visual observation. So we're just looking for a confirmation of color bands, just like the COVID test or a pregnancy test. A's the only one that's different. These are like, yeah, we're running for influenza, but they're all enzyme or immunoassays or whatever, and we're doing those probes and we're going to send them out to the lab and they'll print us out a report. That's the first difference that I see, is like a major header that's different from all these. So that's helpful. That's the only one that's visual, I think. Yep. I don't know how that helps, but those are all influenzas. Direct. Yep. All right. Keyword is rapid and visual. All right. Let's see. We've got same area. What is our 86706? 06 is hepatitis B, but this one's surface. Our 05 is a core. If you look at its mama is a core, and then that's the antibody IgM. And then 04 is our core, but that one's looking for a total. And then our 87, wherever that is, I don't know if I'll even look that one up because it looks abnormal, because these are all in the 6-7s. So I'll just eliminate D. So it's probably a difference between knowing if you know what a 4 and the 5 is, because they're both under core, where the other one is surface. So what are we doing? Core for RIA method. We're testing for the number of infection agents. That means the total number of how many are there. It's not whether the antibodies or whatever is there, but we need to know the number. So if you don't have it right under 04, you're looking for AKA, your one word difference is number, and not whether you have the antibodies or not. Yep. Ooh, we're back in our panels up at the front. Front of our book, they're all the same. It's just our differences. So probably the 2 5s, I'd look up those, the 841s, see what's going on. Our 840, not 40, but where are we at? Our 841. Not 41, I keep saying that. 56. Yep. This one is urine. Yep. 6 is any source. And 55 is blood. Yeah. So we're just with this one looking about what source did we submit off to the lab. Did we collect blood? Did we collect urine? Other is probably not going to be it. Plus it's a 60. So out of the 55 and 56, what did we send with it? We wanted a total protein for the urine, and we also did for the type 1 diabetes. Urine. Super easy. Just match up the urine with the urine. That's all we needed. All right, 820. 820. We're dealing with 40 is serum. 42 is our other sources. Usually don't pick other sources. 44 is urine. And 50 is for our ischemia. So let's see. What are we doing? We didn't do urine or serum. We did gastric fluids, acidic fluids. So we are going to use our other source. Ooh, interesting. A lot of times they don't pick those as answers, but this one they did. That's cool. But just knowing the little one-word differences in your codes helps out tremendously. You don't have to read the code descriptors. You don't have to look at the parent codes. A lot of these are children code and you don't get much info. Super helpful. It's just gastric fluids is what we sent in. Urinalysis. These are cool because just knowing your a little bit of differences right there is super helpful. Like they're bundled. Let me get to them. Pain in the butt to find because they're all out of sequence because of everything else. Okay, 614. We've got non-automated versus automated versus with microscope or without microscope. So find you some colored pens. Do your non-automated in one color. Do your automated in another color. and then do without micro, put one line through the without micros, so you know those aren't included. I put a little plus symbol next to the with microscope one, and then the most common seen, and all of these have pink highlights on them because they were on the exam, is 81002 is our most common. What did we do? We got with microscope. So you know you can get rid of O2 and O3 if it's used, because it has without microscope. We do have dipstick. Now we just got to figure out our differences. If you use the process of looking for similarities, you know you can get rid of A and D. Then we just got to look up our differences between the 829, 62, 57, 29, 47 is our quant glucose, no reagent strip, so there would be no reagent strip. And our 62 is our meter machine, which is exactly what we did, is our meter machine. And 47 has no strip being used. The another thing about 47, just in case. Thank you. 47, what happens is you put the blood on a strip and you visually read the glucose blood level off the color that it changes. I know it says accept reagent strip, but that's not like the glucometer. Well, it just tells you the number on a strip. You put the blood on a strip and you put it in the machine, and the machine tells you what number you have. So 47 is putting the blood on a strip, but it's not a reagent strip. It's just going to change colors, and you're going to see what range it could be in based off the color, like you do a dipstick urine. It's going to be something like that. So that's the differences between 47 and 62. I hope that helps. All right, 822s. Backwards just a little bit. Our 74, not stool. 70 is cancer screening, right? 71 is other. And 72 is an other also. Other source for this one anyway. But we're not looking for cancer, we're looking for something else. What are we looking for on this patient? We didn't do it for cancer screening, we did it for an ulcer. So we can get rid of that. We did do occult blood, so it's not another source. And yeah, it's not outer, because we're not doing, it's hemoglobin, that would be blood. We're not doing that one. So it is C for this example. I hope that makes sense. Good job. So a visual of blood on a strip, not using in a machine. You got it, Janet. That was perfect. You use your eyes to tell what color it changes. Yep. All right, next one. I'm already there. I'm going to look up the 270s. So I'm on page 664. If we look at R78, we have a presence of something. I just need to know, is it positive or negative? 79 is a measurement. We're going to measure. We need a measurement. 80, because we're close. This one's ultra sensitive. This one's sensitive, but this one's ultra sensitive. It's also using venous, which is important. And then 62 is just, yeah, a breakdown slide. Okay. What are we looking for? What are we doing? We're looking for thrombosis. There's only one CPT code that says anything about a diagnosis and venous out of all of these. Only one. They're all D-dimmers, whatever, nightmare. But the only one with a thrombosis and venous in the CPT code descriptor for us to do a word match is just C. It is supposed to be ultra sensitive. I don't know if they just forgot a word or what, but I think 80 is supposed to be ultra sensitive, but thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Yay. Thank you, Love Muffin. You are awesome. Thank you so much. So hopefully this will help. They're all dimmers, D-dimmers, whatever. But that's the only one with the diagnosis in there. 79 uses plasma. If y'all wanted some extra information, this one uses plasma, and it uses a measurement. The 78 is just looking for a presence. It's a positive or negative. Is it a quant? It's looking for this fibrin degeneration found in the blood after you have a blood clot, and they want to know if it's even there or not, and that would be 80. Then if they wanted to know how much was in the blood system, it would be 79. 80 is looking for the evaluation. We know you have a blood clot. We need to evaluate how big is it, or how much of an issue is this. And then our 853 is just far away, but not really. 85362, what do I have down there? So that's a breakdown slide. It's also, we use serum, not plasma, but we use serum, or we can use urine for our 62, if you wanted some notes about that. And they also call it a thrombo-Welco procedure. They just gave it a name for some reason. Somebody's named it. But it has not a lot to do with what they're doing in this test question, but they name it, and that's supposed to be a hyphen. I don't know why I wrote it like that. Thrombo-Wells, it's a proper name. They write it with capital letters. Method is what they call that one. But they can use urine or serum on that one. This one's plasma. Anyway, more notes than y'all needed. All you needed for this practice question was to match those words with the 80. That's it. Don't worry about the D-dimmer stuff. That's not going to help you with all these codes because they're all pretty much the same. Same area, right? Sort of gonna go 644. Yeah. We got our 55 is an assay. 45 is an auto. 27 is a CBC. And 46 is an MRV plus that other test. So let's see. What are we doing? We're looking for the MRV plus the other test. Yeah. So we know our answer is going to be D. D. That's all. Just matching some of the stuff that's in those parentheses. Gets crazy. 88.3. Oh, I'm so tired of lab and path, aren't you guys? Okay. 691. Did y'all get there? We are threes. We've got 3 of them that are in the 2s. So our three, 2, 1. I like doing these. These aren't bad. 3, 2, 1 is slides. 3, 2, 3 is material. And 3, 3, 3 is cytoplasty, which is fish. And 3, 2, 9 is during surgery. That's my differences that I have in my notes for these codes. Let's see. What are we doing? A squash prep examination. Whew. Which one's squash? Does it also say during surgery? Intraoperative. Intraoperative. I like that during surgery, but we got cyto. We've got cyto. This is going to be our 333, right? Axillary lymph nodes. Because we've got our squash prep, of course, inside the parentheses too. Yep. In the middle, I love those little parentheses. They help out so much. Those AKA terms. Which of the following cells are seen in an increased number during an EOE? You just not too hard on this one. We do have half of the name written here, so you just need to match us. We've got eosinophils. What does EGFR test measure? Of course, it test measures our kidney functions. Be sure to know that. for your exam. And which one of these terms is for overload of sodium? I'm going to let y'all answer this one in chat. See how many get this one right. What time is it? 5:05. I got to go be an Easter bunny. Which one is an overload of sodium? Think back to your periodic table. I knew Go-Card get it right. She's seen this question before. John's Outdoor got it. So did Megan. Jen got it right. Yep. Think about your periodic table. The Na is for sodium. You can also look up this word, hypernatremia, in the ICD-10 book, and it'll take you to where it says underneath the ICD-10 code that it does sodium too, by the way. All right. Yeah, I'm not done with Lab and Path yet. Y'all may have to give me a 5-minute break to go toss some eggs out in the dang yard. I still have... Yeah, we've done 60 out of 75 questions. We haven't done our 75 in 3 hours like I'm supposed to. I visited too much. What else am I doing? We got to do, are we in 81 or are we in 82? Would be our, or an 88, I mean, for this particular question. If we're in the 81s, we're up there in the beginning where they're doing one drug at a time or one medication. 88 threes are more for the consultations and things. So let's see what we're doing. What are we doing today? 88, 60. $88,360 is a stain procedure. And then the 63 is previously diagnosed analysis, mutation analysis. What in the heck? We are doing a gene mutation analysis. Wow, we are. So the only thing that I see that I can match up with any kind of gene mutation analysis is that 88363. Yep. Based on current screening guidelines, how often should women between the ages of 20 and 29 get pap smears? Is it either or 5 years combo, or they don't need it at all? We could see similarities in 2 answers. B and C both have 3 years in it, but they're not going to say 3 years and, oh yeah, maybe go do something else for 5 years. They're not going to make it that complicated. They'll do one or the other, but it is every 3 years. They no longer recommend us do it every year. They call it overutilization of resources. E&M with some lab work. Oh my. Remember, we don't do the process of elimination or looking for similarities in our E&Ms. We need to go see what our headers are. This is ER. This is new patient, or established. Let's check on our patient's status. Also check out our last sentence, see what we're coding. We don't have a last sentence in this example. So where is our patient? What's our patient's status? They are in an outpatient clinic. So they are not in the ER. We can get rid of that one, right? Are they new or established? If it doesn't say whether they're new or established, what is our default? Whether our patient is new or established. They say her pediatrician, but I mean, we have patients assigned to us all the time, but we've never seen them before. So our default is always established. If we don't know 100% whether they're new or established, always pick the answer that says established. D is your answer for this one. What are 3 documentation requirements for supporting a consultation category of codes? I think this is what I did the TikTok on yesterday. Request, request, recommend, or request. So I'd get rid of C because it doesn't start out like the others. We've got request by another provider, request by a patient. No, we can't have that happen. So out of these 2, we've got request by another provider or request by the patient. No. So A has to be our answer. We've got request, report, and we also have to render. Know your 3 R's. I just did a video on that. All right. Right here we've got admit, hospital. Whoops. We've got our code for admit, hospital. Admit, hospital, subsequent hospital, subsequent hospital. So the first thing we got to figure out, what am I billing for? So we're going to read our last sentence. Our last sentence says code for the cardiologist. So what did the cardiologist do today? Cardiologist sees the patient for the first time for chronic AFib on her 2nd day in the hospital. So are we billing an admit hospital visit or a subsequent hospital visit? That's our first hurdle. I'm sure you are, Gupta. We'll do some more lessons on pap smears later, okay? Is our patient going to be billed by this cardiologist as a subsequent hospital visit or an admit? I know. I know, time is up. I know. That's her job. She's supposed to let me know. We're only billing for the cardiologist. It says the cardiologist is seeing her for the first time. Can we bill a subsequent hospital visit when this is the first time this specialty is seeing the patient? If gastro came back and saw her, who admitted the patient, then the patient would be seen by a subsequent visit by their admitting specialty. This is cardiology who's never seen the patient. It's a different specialty. So we are in the admits, even though we're second day in the hospital. Super hard question. Would we bill a level 1 or a level 2? Patients being seen, I don't have an MDM to tell us or time or anything, so I just have to go off of their chief complaint or whatever the doctor's seeing them. Coumadin is one chronic condition. They're not here for a heart attack. They're not here for, something hugely major. So also, if it's a difference between a cheaper code or a more expensive code for the exam, I'm going to always stay very conservative, pick A as my answer, and move on to my next question. I have pages and pages of rationale for this question for you. Y'all can read this, but I think it's going to be 2 pages of rationale. So don't freak. Read this, see what you think about it, and then we'll work on this one some more during the week. I've got another 2-hour live tomorrow, but it's just that coding becomes more complicated. Know that its initial visit is per speciality. So that's super important. If another gastro admits the doctor, then when cardio comes in, they still get to admit the patient. It's crazy. It's not only one doctor can admit the patient and only one doctor gets the initial visit. So it's crazy. Anyway, y'all watch this later on. I have 2 examples here. So how many conditions or problems would be included for today's visits in MDM? So the patient comes in with all these complaints. Patient has this. They coded with URI. They said this stuff is managed by other physicians. So how many conditions would be part of your element of MDM would we consider this patient? 1, 2, 3, or 4? By the way they wrote up this note. It's just going to be the 1 for this one. Neither disease is affected by the patient's care. There's no medication, nothing rendered. Another doctor is working on those conditions. This doctor isn't, so they weren't considered. Now, how many are reportable for this note? We have another patient coming in with scratchy throat. By the way they write up this chart, how many conditions are considered for the way they wrote up this note? Because of this paragraph right here included, we're going to have 3. So that would increase the level of MDM, of course, by a lot of conditions. So it's just little tweaks like that. Y'all review both these examples when y'all can pause the videos and see the differences. They're mentioned, but it's the way they mentioned them that's super important. And I'll go over these again, of course, in our lives. subsequent. So, okay. Which code is used to report hospital inpatient care that supports the increase of hospital level of care? I wrote this question, by the way. Ooh. So, if we're looking at our 99231s, those are subsequent hospital visits, I believe. If we came on a day and saw our patient was getting worse and we needed to increase them, like we move them from a step 1 to a step 2 that might have more nursing supervision, things like that into the hospital, if we increased the level of care that they are getting in the hospital, which one would we code? If we look at our 992, let me get my camera working. So this one is high, our 3.3 is high, our 3.2 is moderate. So that's all I'm looking for, is whether we are moderate, high, or low. I know, good news. I went 3 hours without a bathroom break. That's awesome for the win. Good job, Erin. This would be, and let me show you where the answer is. So if you're in your chart, you know this lovely chart that we have here in E&M, over here under high, if you see something that says right here, decision regarding hospitalization, escalation of hospital level care is written right there. That would make you a high, so we can bill our 3.3. Let me get rid of this so you guys can see. I gotta go be an Easter bunny. Oh my gosh. Okay, total time for 99232. What's our total time for that visit? Nine nine two 3.2. What number am I at? Okay. You had to go take a food break. I don't blame you. Yes, so if you have not changed, if you're running out of a 2022 book, make sure your times have changed and updated to the correct times. How much time is for a 99252? That is our inpatient hospitalization coding. Any ideas? Hopefully you've updated this one too. It is also C, 35 minutes. Be sure and change those. What about our MDM for 99282? What is it? Are we straightforward? Are we high? Are we low? Or is there no MDM required? It is straightforward. It's no longer a combo. Some of the codes are straightforward and low, but this one's just straightforward because our 83 is low. Our 84 is our moderate, or yep, and then our high, yeah, is at 5. So be sure and know those. Make sure y'all get those changed. All right. Are we doing any of this? We got hospital consult, admits and discharges with another discharge, an admit with a discharge, a consult with a discharge, or an admit and a consult all in one. Let's look at our last sentence, see what they're asking us to code for. We're coding for the OB doctor. What's the status of my patient? Status of my patient was that they were admitted to the hospital. Were they discharged in the same day? She was discharged in the afternoon. If she was, then all we have to do is code one code. That's our 2, 3, 4. That's it. We've got 3 levels of an established patient. Thinking about those differences in times and stuff. Or MDM. We don't have MDM, but we do have total time. What do you guys think this answer is? What do you guys think the answer is for this one? We have a patient who comes in for a 3-month follow-up, and after an appropriate exam and history, I wrote this one too. MDM orders an EKG. The patient reports bedtime palpitations. Along with the EKG, what code for today's visit will be coded that lasted 38 minutes? Remember, I wrote the question. So if I wrote the question, there's a trick in it, right? It says, along with the EKG, what is the code for today's visit? Can I bill our like 9,300, which is our EKG, but we also bill for the time it took to do the EKG? So the patient was there a total time of 38 minutes. We have to, if we're going to bill the EKG, take the time off of our office visit to do the EKG, which took the medical assistant 15 minutes. That takes off the total time that the patient was there. We're only going to bill for 23 minutes. So your visit is actually only a 213. So be careful on that. In general, any procedures that you're going to add to an E&M visit, even critical care or something like that, if the patient's inpatient in the hospital and it's actually something you can bill for, you have to take the time off to do it. And in general, most CPT codes, we just take 15 minutes off for everything if we're going to bill it. It is in, actually, oh God. Hold on. Oh my God, my legs. I'm dying. It's going to be in your critical care guidelines, near your critical care books. Also, if you got this baddie, it's in here too. I got this, like, I've got big hands. My hands are like 10 inches long. They're long. This book is, good Lord, 1,000 pages. It's also inside this book I got from AAPC. It's a nightmare to go through, but yeah, it's in there. It's also going to be in your guidelines near the critical care or pediatric critical care, but it's going to be one sentence, and it's not going to tell you the 15-minute time thing. But AAPC's practice questions have had this scenario before, and that came from their rationale that came with it. When you're looking through this initial inpatient care, when we can bill for pediatric services, you can't bill for anything once a pediatric patient is admitted. So we don't get to bill for an EKG on peds. But when we do it for subsequent hospital visits and our patient is already admitted and an adult admitted to the hospital, if we were going to bill for an EKG during the middle of critical care time, we do get to bill for it if they're already admitted. If they're doing critical care down in the ER and they're not admitted yet, you don't get to bill the EKG because it's all combined with the critical care services. It's in the middle of all this mess, but it's not gonna, it's gonna allude to it. It's not gonna be 100% like that reference book shows you how to do right here in all this critical care stuff. You'll find it. It's in here, but it's just gonna be very, very small. These coding tips help some too, but it's not easy. It's not easy, but it is going to be here. We do have some examples here. Time spent right here. You have to take it off the total critical care time or the total time. You know, that's how some of our critical care's done on the floor that don't equal up to 30 minutes. We have to turn into a subsequent hospital visit. I've done some of those visits, some of those before, where we've had a patient come in and they were already admitted on the floor as a subsequent hospital, but then they crashed and they did 30 minutes of critical care to get them back. But because they did something that was not on the list of critical care stuff that you can use, we did, I don't know, trach intervention or something that wasn't included in critical care services. So we had to take 15 minutes of it off, which means we couldn't bill for critical care. We ended up just doing a subsequent hospital visit with that trach procedure. It's the same thing for doctor office visits. If we're going to bill for a procedure, you can't double bill for the time involved in that procedure. It's total fraud. So it's here. It's just vague. So it's there. It'll be in your guidelines, but it's not going to give you a patient example like this in front of you to be able to see that difference. So anyway, which of the following services is included in critical care services? when performed during critical care services. Let me read chat. I see y'all written a book in there. What's going on? Will the EKG one be on the exam? I don't think so. I'm trying to see if chat caught up with what's going on. My friend gave me an exam last year in December, and she said the questions were a lot easier than what the practice ones do. Some of them are, but if you get exam C, those questions are harder than any of the practice exams that I've ever seen. That exam C is not nice. This one is chest x-rays and ventilation management. When an emergency room provider is stabilizing a dislocation fracture, what should you code? The applications of the cast, the fracture treatment, modifiers. This one is just the application of the cast. So if you're dealing with an emergency room visit, remember, don't be billing for your E&M visits. Only bill for your casting, strapping, and splints. Another guideline for that one. Critical care for this one. Many of y'all have seen this practice question before. We're just going to add up time. We have 62 minutes of critical care time. And then we did an additional 55 minutes of critical care time. The 39 minutes down here, make sure and verify, but this is just staff doing diabetes and ulcer care. That's not critical care, so we're not going to add that time. Right here we've got 117 minutes of critical care for this patient only. So we're going to go to our chart, see what our answer is. And our answer would be D for this one. Should be careful. This is that weird new lab one that I found right before our exam that I thought was the end of our workshop, so that I thought that was cool enough to just put it back here at the end and figure out this one because it was cool. I'd never seen it before. We're either 804 or we're 829. So let's go look up our differences real quick. 804. Y'all may have seen the question before, but I hadn't. 804. Where are we at? (804) 34. Growth hormones, somewhere around there. Insulin tolerance, growth hormones. All right, what's our 829s? 829s. (829) is 656, somewhere around there. 829, 47. What have we got? Glucose, quant, blood. What did we do? We did an insulin tolerance test. That's not glucose. Our 804s had that, so we can get rid of the B's. Are we going to times 5 it or do the code by itself? So we had a panel of 5, and we did 5 glucose assessments too. So do we times 5 this code or not, is what they're asking us. If you go in person, when you pull a sticker off your exam and you put it on your bubble sheet, there is the name of your exam listed there. You might not want to look though, because if you see it, you're going to panic. There's no way for you to know online which exam you get at all, so nothing I can do about that. Yep, it cannot be B or D, wrong area. It's only going to be A because that code already includes the times 5s. So your answer is always going to be A for that one. I just thought it was cool. Just some tips on that one. Don't report that and that separately. Be sure and don't do that. So just a reminder, be sure you know your differences between at least some of these modifiers for lab and path. Some people get confused about the 91 versus the 59. So if there's multiple specimens used for one test, we could use the 59. But if it's multiple tests done repeatedly, it's our 91, right? So be sure you understand that distinction. Hopefully that's helpful. The same test is performed multiple times. We're going to use 91. And outside lab, we're going to use the 90 modifier. Be sure you know that. But if we're going to use multiple specimens to perform one little old test, then we might add the 59. But I doubt that kind of stuff would be on the exam. I know your 91 and your 90 will be on there. But that is it. I'm done with today's lesson. 45 minutes over. So if you had 75 questions, you really got to go a lot faster than what I did today. Because it was Easter. I was busy visiting, saying hello and happy Easter to everybody. But you got to really rock and roll as soon as you get that exam open and keep going and don't stop. It makes a huge difference for sure to just keep going. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for almost 4 hours. And y'all have a super happy Easter. I'll be back tomorrow, guys, for another 2 hours free lessons for you guys on YouTube and maybe TikTok if it'll do some. But I hope this was super helpful, and it is my birthday present to you guys. You can watch this replay as much as you want all year long. It'll always be here for you as long as the YouTube channel's up. And I really appreciate you guys. Happy Easter. I'm just reading chat. I hope everybody understood a lot of that. I know I had to squeeze through those E&Ms pretty fast. Yeah, because if you see the C, you're going to get scared. But any other one is pretty easy. But yeah, I'd love to see any test questions or exams that y'all have. Let's see. I keep telling myself I will pass. to win the lottery. I don't need my certification at all. It'd still be cool to have, wouldn't it, Erin? Even if you won the lottery, wouldn't you want to just pass this just to, you may not even keep the certification, but just to have it and say you did it and accomplished it, you know? Yeah, it'll be 6:30 Arizona time zone because I still got to work till 5. Get the kids after baseball practice. His practice doesn't end till 5:45. So then I got to go pick him up and then I got to feed him. And then I rush over here to you guys at 6:30. So it has to be at 6:30. Sorry. But I love you guys. Thank y'all so much. I wish the best and I hope everybody passes this year. Thank you for the birthday wishes. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. I got to go be an Easter bunny and